And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So, game 3 of the semi-finals, Evil Geniuses versus Fnatic will be getting underway in just a few short minutes. Of course, the players are just taking a small break, as you would expect. They are all running around. There's a cup of tea in the hand of Snoopy, I might add, so it's looking like it may well be another long game.
Yeah, I believe yesterday he was actually starting to get a little bit sick, and he was coughing during their series against Copenhagen Wolves, but hopefully he's doing all right, because that was a phenomenal game out of everyone at Evil Geniuses.
If you're an Englishman and you've got a cup of tea, although I should say Scotsman, really, because they're not really English, are they?
I hate tea. I hate tea.
I've just started off the whole England v Scotland thing right now. I know it. I can feel it. Everybody else in the world doesn't get a monkeys, but England, Scotland, oh, it's important. It's important as well. We do see a big Dane waving at me as well. A great Dane, some may say. And, oh my word, actual nipples on the show right now from Greppo. Would you believe it? They're flashing me. They're flashing me off camera. How dare they? But they are obviously discussing the all-important tactics for the next game. Fnatic are going to be doing the same. They are off in a huddled in a corner because this is what it's all about. Can they reach the grand finals? This $100,000 tournament, $50,000 for first place. Nobody wants to be in the third, fourth place playoff. Of course, you can check out lolesports.com. Get yourselves on the votes there. I'd love to see what the votes are actually. You could probably give them me in a moment to see really how this is swinging between them. Let's have a look. You can see it's actually, what, 50...
Closed up a little bit. 56% to 44%.
44. So that's definitely closing up. So the Evil Geniuses fans out there may be waking up in North America and saying, hey, the curse isn't real, guys. Evil Genius can win things.
Gosh, just had to go there. But the real question is, what side are they going to be on? And I believe it is red side. And we saw yesterday against the Wolves, they lost their game on the red side. They lost the first game earlier against Fnatic on the red side. Can they come back? Can they get past that mental block and win this game?
Yeah, they continue to insist the blue side is OP. Maybe it's something in their play styles. I don't know.
It could be something in the water.
It may be something in the water. Last night was proven, though, by the Americans that the fact that the red side is strong as well. It worked out, and really the red side was winning constantly last night. If you haven't seen the results, I'm not going to spoil them for you because everybody in Europe, it did start at midnight here in Germany, and of course UK would have been 11 p.m., etc. So it was a late night game for you guys. I'm aware of that, so I don't want to spoil the results for you, but they were very good games last night, the quarterfinals in the North American LCS.
We even saw support York.
Yes, we did. Yeah, we saw a number of different things as well. We saw a couple of top lanes as well. We saw Zach again. Zach definitely been a popular champion in the LCS so far.
Yeah, it seems like in North America, Zach's been picked up a lot quicker than Thresh was initially.
Yeah.
Like when we saw Thresh finally able to be played, you saw, I think it was Crepo playing him right away. You saw Edward playing him right away. But it took a couple of weeks for it to finally kick in over there. And when it did, it just started getting banned out right away.
And let's start thinking about the picks and bans that we've seen, because we've just seen Anivia sneak through again for Froggen, and just like he did against Copenhagen Wolves, it was again magnificent. He didn't die. He picked up so many kills and just controlled the game.
If I'm not mistaken, he actually wasn't banned out in the first game.
No, he wasn't. But they just didn't go with him. They obviously have something up their sleeve that they go with the blue buff. Now, the main thing for me here is the fact that Peke picked Caitlyn against it, which has been perceived as to be the counter. Froggen even says it himself, but clearly with those AD runes that he took early on seemed to work wonders for him.
And I have to say, like even Joe pointed out on the analysis test, that getting that blue over to him right away made it so the range that happened between him and Expected didn't affect him as much. It was able to take that lane and snowball a little bit more. But in terms of bans, we've seen Kha'Zix banned out every game so far. We've seen Cassian banned out every game so far. We've seen Zed banned out every game so far. So a lot of high damage, mid, potentially top lane champions.
So there's a lot of champions out there, and the bans they're going to have to try and adapt and overcome. Let's see how that works out. But let's look at the promo to start with, because, of course, there is another game today, and that is, of course, going to be Gambit versus SK Gaming. That is the semi-final match that will be happening after this one. You can see SK Gaming, they passed Against All Authority. Unfortunately for Against All Authority, it was a disqualification. You can check out the news on that one on the LeagueOfLegends.com forums, as well as the LoL eSports. I believe it may well be a link on there as well. Of course, you guys on Reddit, you know where it is because you guys follow the esports scene. So that does mean that SK Gaming versus Gambit, that will be coming up after this match, this final match of the series. Currently 1-1. You can see Fnatic versus Evil Geniuses. Evil Geniuses did take down Copenhagen Wolves. They took it 2-1. Can they do the same against Fnatic, or will they fall against Fnatic, who really have had their number for the last 6 months? Of course, there is also relegation matches coming up, or Well, I mean, it's a bit harsh to call it that. It's not quite in it. It's more of a negative light. It's a promotion matches coming up, of course, from the amateur scene. And you can see there is a lot of teams in there. Let's go through the Meteor Makers. They were one of the teams that many people were expecting in the European LCS before when we were in Warsaw, but they fell to the Dragonborn. So if they were to get past Extra Actually Evil, who are a very strong team themselves, it would be a rematch almost of Warsaw right there. Alternate versus Wizards as well. That's a very strong one. Again, could be Spaniards versus Spaniards if Wizards sneak through.
And of course, we got Sinners Never Sleep versus TCM Gaming, which TCM as well did play in the qualifiers for the spring split of LCS. Could be going up against, and I always do that, going up versus against Authority. I try to segue it through that. And of course, Samurai and Jeans versus Nexus Esports, who also did play in the qualifiers, going to be playing against the Copenhagen Wolves. And, looking across, there's going to be no easy matches whatsoever for either team, and that is a best of 5. So, we saw how best of 3 can affect the teams who don't experience it too much yesterday. It could be even worse than a best of 5.
Yeah, they're clear tip of the hat to the ninjas in pajamas there from the samurais in jeans, I feel. But the Copenhagen Wolves and against Authority, obviously two of the teams that we do see go through from this playoff series. And you got to feel they're probably going to be favorites to get through. Really, any LCS team should be the favorite to get through, but we're not sure because the amateur teams that are coming up are listed there are all very strong.
Yes, they are. And the thing is, we have to point out is that, Dragonborns, we didn't see them do too well in LCS. They had roster changes, but they've been pretty much boot camping for this entirety of the time they've had between being knocked out or dropping down to this and then going to be playing next week. So we could see a completely different team out of them. But just, sitting there and realizing we've seen these teams for 10 weeks. We've seen them evolve. We've seen them grow. And to realize they could potentially not be in the summer split is just kind of mind-blowing.
It's a little scary for some of those guys as well because this is their careers, of course, that they are talking about. But let's look ahead at the next match that will be coming up. Gambit versus SK. The teams are just setting themselves up now. So the picks and bans will be coming out in a few moments. They're still just got to set up. They're not even in the game right now. But Gambit versus SK. How do you see that one going? Because SK actually picked up a win over Gambit in week 9. And that was the first win they've had in a very long time.
And that was a very one-sided win as well. Like, it was just ridiculous how many kills they got. I mean, that was when also was playing Twisted Fate, so I would expect that to be banned out. But I can tell you this. I'm not going to tell you who's going to win, but I can tell you it's going to be a very good set. However, Gambit has been finally boot camping this week. Like, they have been sitting here practicing every day. They've been at the studio just playing every day for 8 hours, it seems. And they really want to win this. Like, they want to like kick out SK because they've had all week to practice for them. SK had to prepare for against Authority, then prepare for Gambit, and then potentially the winner of this semifinal. So Gambit, it looks like they probably have the preparation underway.
And this is actually the first time that Gambit, for a long time, since March, I believe, since the beginning of March, that they've actually sat and practiced together. So they've not really had a chance. You heard Alex Itch talking about it, they joked about it. The fact they practice in their sleep, that is really the only chance they get, the only time they have it. And, Peke will be coming up in a moment. And those guys, Fnatic, they've been in the gaming house here, which is why they've ended up #1 and Gambit #2. Gambit are really not happy with that, and they're going to be out to prove a point, and it's really for SK Gaming, who are themselves trying to prove a point, to try and stop them.
But how do you stop Groove's belt? That's the real question. Like, not about stopping anyone in Gambit, how do you stop his belt? Because it really gives them a lot of motivation, and we have to keep in mind, they've been traveling week in and week out this entire of the 10 weeks. Like, that has to take a number on you. You have to be so tired, you have to be so worn out, mentally and physically, but they've still been putting on some great shows. Being second in LCS like that is extremely hard to do. I never want to be in that situation.
So the teams are almost ready to go. Evil Geniuses versus Fnatic is the game right now. If you've just joined us, well, you've missed 2 fantastic games. Fnatic took the first one, and Evil Geniuses responded in kind, so we are going all the way in this series. It's going to be 2-1 to someone, but who will it be?
I can't wait to find out, I can tell you that. And, honestly, the picks and bans are going to be a little interesting. I expect, something very similar to happen, what we've been seeing, go on, with just taking out those very high damage champions early on. But it kind of tells you what they want to go for, because we've seen both teams build a little bit tanky. You had Zach in the top lane for SOAS, who just built straight tank. Then you had Wicked build a little bit of damage and straight tank with him. It just kind of shows how these teams are going to play this one out. And I wouldn't be surprised if this game goes about 60 minutes long, because they're fighting for the playoffs, so they're fighting for that $100,000.
You can see with Genius, they look prepared. Fnatic look like they're ready and waiting to go, so hopefully we will be starting. So, picks and bans, all important now. Big game, big match against them. What are we thinking here? They're about to get underway. We saw Jarvan the 4th, importantly banned out. Seemed to work so well for Cyanide, so I'd expect that to go. Thresh has been banned out already. Could we see a Kassadin Twisted Fate sneaking through these bans this time around?
We have to remember that. So if Evil Genius is going to leave Kassadin open, they have to leave Twisted Fate open. Like, they have to pretty much guarantee they can get one of those potentially. So that's the problem they're going to run into here, as they do take out Kha'Zix, and Luck's being taken away as well. So very similar bans to what we've seen before. And like you predicted, that Jarvan will be taken away from Cyanide, who was just so troublesome for him. Like, that whole combo of his knockups with Zac in game number 1 was just insane.
Yeah, we see Zed taken away as well, so neither Wicked or Soaz are going to be allowed on that one. Or actually, Peke's been using Zed a few times as well. So final ban coming out. Evil Genius, his discussion going out. Wicked will be the man banning it. What will
we have a problem, though, because Kassadin and Twisted Fate haven't been banned out yet. So if you ban one, Fnatic can pick one up. Obviously, you don't want to pick up Kassadin right away.
Twisted Fate allowed.
Yes.
Ooh. They've done this on purpose. They've chosen to let this through. Fnatic have gone for it. They've picked up Twisted Fate. We're going to see Peke on it. And that does mean that they really favor that Zac as well, a little bit more. So Wicked's going to be picking that Zac up. Has it been that much of a game breaker so far to allow Twisted Fate through?
I want to say that people are still learning how to play it a little bit, because we haven't seen it really shine too much, but just the threat of going up against that is just really dangerous. Like the knockups you have double knockups, the damage you can put out. We do have Elise being locked in, which usually goes to Crepo at this point as support Elise, which he did a great job on.
I think it will.
But it could, yeah, it always could be support Elise.
When was the last time we saw Crepo ever do support Elise?
A couple weeks ago.
When I was in America. I'm going to go with that one.
He did it before NIF. I can't remember the exact week, but he did it before NIF.
He did it before NIF.
Because he's like, there's so many buttons to hit. I want to hit them all.
Yeah, I remember him on the analysis test talking about how much he loved it, but it does mean that Varus is going to be given up across towards Yellow Star. That's Yellow Pete's champion, his champion of choice, and that's going to give Yellow Pete something to think about. What will the other pick be? Will they go with a jungler here? Will we see Nasus being picked up once again by Cyanide? Didn't work to great success in the last game.
We have seen Cyanide play Nocturne quite a bit, and that threat of the double global ultimates is really hard to go up against. It's really scary when you can't see Twisted Fate coming in and you have that presence.
Well, looks like Leona's going to get locked in, so we know the duo lane now of Fnatic. What will we see from Evil Genius? Is that going to be a top lane Zac? Is that going to be a jungle Zac? Are we going to see Snoopy picking up something different? Will we see him going with the Cho'Gath, which worked out so well for him in the last game? They were very tanky. And are they expecting... They've got to remember deal with the mobility that Soaz has. Shen is available if they were to switch it around here and maybe lock it in. And it looks like that's the way they're going to go.
And look at, we have seen jungle Shen before, so it could always potentially be that, though we know Wicked to be usually that person on that champion. And we've had, like we mentioned before in the first game, that Snoopy has been praising that jungle Zac, so we'll see if he ends up going for that. But the Kog'Maw being sat on, which we saw Yellow Pete play yesterday, and the first time he played it in game 2, I believe it was, didn't do that well, but in game 3, it was just fantastic.
See if they lock it in. They haven't chosen yet. Froggen's still discussing and maybe changing here, actually, but he has locked it in, and that is going to be also Yellow Pete on Kog'Maw. So he can get locked up pretty easily here. He's going to have to keep that cleanse and flash on cooldown as much as possible. He's got to avoid the early engages, which almost undoubtedly, we're going to see the combo of Varus and Leona. They're going to be looking to lock him up early. Will we see similar to what we saw in game 1, where Crepo pushed that level 2 so quickly so they could dive on him?
It could happen, but they are on the blue side this time, so they won't have that ability to take double golems and get that early bit of XP unless they lane swap into the top side. Oh, Fnatic, sorry. Wow, I was just looking at staring at Evil Genius's lineup, just thinking about what they're going to go for as their AP mid. But yeah, Fnatic, they easily could go for that. Obviously, Leona is really strong, so you have those 2 forms of CC when you hit that level 2 point. And if you're going to end up against a Kog'Maw, you can just push my lane very quickly. But I think they're going to go for a lane swap, so you won't actually have that happening.
Well, looks like Volibear may get locked in, which means the jungler for Cyanide. Also that Rumble in the top lane for Soaz. See whether that gets chosen. It looks like it will be the final picks for Fnatic there. They seem happy with that one. So what is Froggen going to use? What will he counter? Soaz's Twisted Fate, or Peke's Twisted Fate, as it will be when it falls into place. And you can see the discussion coming out from Crepo. They're really not sure on the exact choice here.
I think maybe Ahri, actually. Because you need someone that can push the lane really quickly against Twisted Fate, so when he does ult into another lane, you can punish him for it. And Ahri's a really good champion for that with your Foxfire and your Orbital Deception. And they do actually lock that in. So it looks like we'll have Ahri in the mid lane. I'm going to say we're going to have support Elise, jungle Zac, and Shen top. I'm going to call it.
We'll see which way this one works out. I expect it will be Wicked on that Shen. And like you said, Zac, the fact that we know that Snoopy can play Zac is something we're expecting. So it's going to be Froggen alongside, Yellow Pete, sorry, alongside Elise as a support. That's a dangerous, dangerous lane because he's going to be very squishy early on.
And the thing is, Elise does a lot of damage. Like, compared to other supports, if she jumps on you, you can do a heavy chunk of damage. So it's really unexpected. And when Kog'Maw hits level 6, where he really starts to take off, since he kind of... It doesn't do that much damage early on, I'll say. Once his ultimate is available, he can really push the pain on. We could see some kills happening, but Fnatic, like you were saying before, like, we might expect Enray to take the double golems, get that early level 2, and then really pressure Evil Geniuses. I still think it's going to be a 1v2 situation, so we'll have Yellow Pink Cripple versus Soaz in the top lane.
Absolutely. Almost certainly. The fact that they've both gone for kill lanes, the AD carrying supports, absolutely will be a 2v1. And I think the fact that they've picked this one up here, what are you hearting about? Oh, they
Snoopy is actually running Shen in the jungle.
They have gone Shen jungle, so Soaz is going to be up against, well, with Rumble, probably a 2v1, which is probably why he picked Rumble in the first place. Strong 2v1er, but how does that work out in that 2v1? It's not worked out magnificently so far.
We've seen it work out quite well in the past, but we've also seen it work out terribly as well in the past.
We saw Soaz 2v1, and he went outstanding with it.
It just comes down to, I guess, where the jungle comes in. Like, there's a lot of jungle pressure because, you know, Shen, he's one of those junglers that you don't exactly know the moment he hits level 6, so you always have that threat of him coming in with that ultimate. You obviously can't see him in lane, so you most likely won't be able to interrupt it either way. I think if Evil Geniuses goes for a 3-man gank on a Soaz, there's not really much you can do to escape because you have the Elise lockup, you have the slow out of Kog'Maw, and just the pure damage out of Kog.
We also see a teleport from Froggen. So he is looking to keep track of Twisted Fate. Of course, he won't be on as quick a cooldown as the ultimate from Peke, but what are you looking at? You're pointing something out here to me. You're wiggling your mouse around.
Well, we've seen this happen before. Usually it's with Kale, but Peke is actually running 8 flat armor pen. So it might actually be running some attack damage runes as well, just to... Actually, no, he's not running his 50 attack damage, but he wants to really pressure Froggen with those auto attacks, which can really hurt quite a bit. And it would work out quite well, because I believe Froggen only running 27 armor at this point.
We do see Evil Genius is making a full 5-man move, as are Fnatic. They may well go for an invade here. We haven't seen any invades so far across the whole game, but either team are maybe looking to do that. I tell a lie, actually. We saw the blue buff steals between back and forth in the first game.
Yeah, we have. It looks like Evil Geniuses right now, they want to stop that potential early level 2 at Fnatic. They're expecting them to be at these double golems. You see an extra poke come out just to spot anyone there in those bushes. But they're not going to spot them there. And as you can see on your screen, we have the rest of Fnatic towards the top side. So we might see a red steal, or we might see them try to catch Fnatic as they come down.
No wards really been spotting anyone out yet. Red buff ward does go down, and Evil Genius is looking to try and pull something sneaky off here, but Fnatic are doing exactly the same.
You have to keep in mind that, you know, Ichi always talks about how much they study level 1s, how much they always prepare for it, and they're able to get in through here quite easily, and this is the last game, so if they, like, you know, mess up the level 1, they could be in such trouble throughout the rest of the game. Fnatic is coming down, it looks like here, and if they wait long enough, if Geniuses waits long enough, they could catch someone. They could catch Soaz right here.
They're going to see Soaz coming straight around, launches the cocoon in towards him. Is it going to be enough? They do manage to get the Stand United across, but it won't be enough to take him down. And actually, Snoopy now is very low on health, and they have to all back away from this one. They can't take the red buff now. They can't risk it.
Okay, Snoopy is in so much trouble now because he took taunt level 1. He's going to have such a slow clear on this jungle. He won't be level 6 for a long time. So because of that, Fnatic is really far ahead at this point, and it's up to them to kind of keep that advantage. As you can see here, he's going to get a lot of help. He actually might even have to smite this blue unless, actually, no, Cripple is going to tank it for him, so he's going to get that help quite a bit.
Cripple will help tank it down, so we're also going to get a lot of help coming out from, let's see whether Snoopy does smite it, and like you mentioned, look how much he's struggling against it. Basic attacks is all he can do, and he does squeak it out without using that smite, but that's going to leave him low health there. We see the red buff also being picked up by Cyanide.
And more importantly, we don't see lane swaps anymore. So since EG was able to invade, and they know they didn't do the double golems, they know they won't really be behind, and they won't be engaged upon by Fnatic, and they actually might hit level 2. Actually, they will hit level 2 before Fnatic, so we'll see how that actually works out for them here.
See where they manage to go aggressive. We do see Peke hitting level 2 first, just after Froggen. So that's not really giving a great advantage just yet between those two mid laners. Wolves will be picked up by Snoopy. He's going to continue around towards that red buff.
Okay, you just saw Ping out of out of Wicked in the top lane into that bush because he was pointing, hey, there's a ward here, don't come in from there. He put an early pink ward down in his own river because they want to go for a kill on a Soaz. They know he doesn't have flash available. That could be a very easy kill for them and a very easy first blood. We do see Sonic coming around though. Looks like he's even potentially going for a counter, but he wants to go into this top lane or maybe potentially steal away this red.
Well, he started off his own red. He's left his own blue as well, and he is going to get in there. He just saw the red that is the not touched yet, so he knows the path of Snoopy, and he knows that Snoopy will be joining on towards that red buff in just a moment, surely. But he's already started it off, and that may well be a mistake now. It's just going to cause all sorts of problems. Will we see Peke and Froggen start levitating towards this one? Cyanide instead. He's going to back away from this one. Has still got that ward coverage, though.
He has Smite, though, so he could potentially go for a Smite still here as Snoopy's trying to go out, because Snoopy doesn't have Smite either, and he's just kind of, it looks like he's waiting. He expects a is. He wants his smite to be up because he doesn't want to get stolen away, but in the meantime, Sunlight did back away anyway, so he will be going, as I say, he's backing away. He heads over towards his red buff yet again. He's going to try to steal it away.
He knows the timer's on him, and look at Snoopy playing clever here because he realizes there's obviously wards in this bush, so I'm going to back away and let those wards time out. I'm going to take these top golems and then come back around to the red buff. Cyanid's like, yep, okay, you countered that well enough. I'm going to go for blue.
Yeah, I don't want to waste any more time. I need to get this blue off ASAP and try to help out. And see in the bottom lane, that Fnatic did push that lane very quickly. That's the kind of the downside of Kog'Maw. You can't clear waves that quick in comparison to Varus, so if they keep shoving the wave against him, it's going to force him to farm under this turret. As you can see right now, he's up in CS anyways, but that's really going to hurt him if he can't keep that up. And also, if the jungler does come down, they could easily go for a 3-man dive there.
Cyanide with the double buffs. Thought about going towards that top lane and still is contemplating it. He's actually walking back and forward around that blue buff area. He's like, well, yeah, discussions between the team. Not really too sure which way this is going to turn out. As it is, though, down this bottom lane, Yellow Star and Yellow Pete, 25 to 23 CS, very close. We did see the level 2 being hit early on by Krepo, that they didn't go crazy engaged. They have got that ping ward down, Krepo, in this bush, and N-rated. They're both staring at each other. They can stun each other at any time, and they just keep throwing that damage back and forward. And a little poke back and forward battle, and Rated is slowly losing hit points here to Krepo.
Oh, a great ward out of Soaz in the top lane. If you can take a look at that real quick. He puts a pink ward, spots the one out of Wicked because you see Cyanide waiting in the wings. They want to make a gank happen up towards this top side, and it might actually happen because Cyanide, he's committed a lot of time. You talked about him just running back and forth, like, do I want to go for it? Do I not want to? We do have Snoopy, though. He's waiting in the wings. He's going to try to counter this.
But Snoopy hasn't got the red buff. He hasn't been able to go over and pick that up. Still in level 2. We do see Wicked diving in towards Soaz, but there's a giant creep wave he's up against here. Wicked's going to surely go down. All them bits of flubber have been split out, and you immediately see Cyanide and Soaz. They're closing in on them. Who will get the kill? It's going to be with Soaz with the first blood, and Snoopy was really helpless to be able to get onto towards that situation. Very well played by Soaz there.
It was a smart play by Evil Geniuses, like Wicked. He wanted to go in because he knew the pink were dropped. He wanted to engage before the jungler got there, but it just wasn't quick enough. He just got 1v1 by Soaz, and of course Snoopy just zoned away Cyanide for, well, not that long, not long enough to save Wicked's life. But Cyanide will be going for invade here. He knew that red buff wasn't taken. He would have locked it down for himself.
We see Krepo getting locked up as well there by N-rated, but as you mentioned, the fact that they saw Snoopy come back, he didn't have that red buff, so nobody's there to take it. I'm going to try and get around it. He has got smite available, but he's going to go very low in this one, but Soaz cleverly keeping Snoopy busy in that top lane. It's going to be a steal for Cyanide.
And I'll say this, I mean, Wicked dying, it wasn't terrible. I mean, it was a bad thing. You never want to give away first blood, but in the end, Snoopy was able to sit in lane for a little bit and tax it, and able to get to level 4. So he's keeping up in Cyanide. He was, he had to take taunt early level 1, and it hurt him in the jungle. He wasn't able to take his own red buff. It hurt him in the jungle. He's keeping low on experience, but just that fact, he's now level 5. He'll be level 6 very quickly, and he'll be able to help these ganks happen.
You see the siege minions both being picked up by the AD carries. Nobody missing out on that. Nobody trying to engage and force that 40 gold to go array, but instead it's going to be Yellow Star getting poked on there. The cocoon didn't quite land though. If it did, almost certainly there to follow through on that one.
And we do have exhaust on Krepo. We have exhaust on N-rated. I don't really expect a strong engage to come out from the team, but when one of the teams hits level 6, which we did just see N-rated hit 5, then we could have a nice fight happening. Obviously, when N-rated gets at 6, he's going to have so much lockdown potential. Yellow Pete's going to have a hard time staying alive. Even though he does have that cleanse, it won't really be enough in the end. And of course, Expeke, which we talked about the middle lane for a little bit, but we kind of forgot about it, as he is level 6 right now, so we could see him ganking some lanes.
Look at that. Build Draw to Cutlass being picked up by both Yellow Star and Yellow Pete. Both, in fact, identical builds, but instead it's going to be Wicked jumping away from that equalizer that came out from Soaz. So Ultimate burned out there, keeping the pressure on Wicked, of course. Once you do win that duel in that top lane, the pressure you can keep applying is going to cause so many problems for Wicked right now. Not
to mention the haunting guys that Soaz picked up is just going to destroy Wicked. We do have Stupid trying to go for a gank on mid lane, but Expeke not getting caught. Flash out of that charm.
Flash does get burnt though. That means ultimate for Flash. That's going to be a fair enough engage there. Snoopy, all he had to use was a Shadow Dash and just walks away from that one. Cyanide picking up his own red buff, of course.
Expeke going to the top lane.
Oh, he's going to go and get the stun card down. He will land. Is it going to be enough? Wicked realizes he needs to turn towards his own turret here. He's going to try and take this one out, and he managed to last it. So has taken very, very low, but he's got no help. He can't finish off the kill because they've gone for Dragon instead.
That was such a smart play of Expeke there, because he actually tanked the turret long enough for Soaz to try to pick up the kill, but Wicked staying alive because he's just so strong with that Zac, be able to heal off that passive. And now Evil Geniuses off the back of that, they wasted a Twisted Fate ultimate, they wasted a flash out of Soaz, and they get a drag on top of it. Very good turnaround. It closes that gold gap, and now Fnatic pushing on towards that bottom lane. They have got Yellow Pete and Krepo returning back in there. This time the blue buff will be given across to Froggen as well. It's all important blue buff for him as well. He's definitely going to have to make sure he keeps control of this one, something that they didn't do in game 1 as the blue side. Yeah, we'll see how strong he can actually be on Ahri this time. I was about to say, where's the blue buff right there, but he is able to pick it up. And with that Twist Fate ultimate being down, Froggen could go for an engage very early on, or not very early, very soon, because he has the ultimate available very shortly, and Xpeke has no ulti.
Oh, we're going to see Chain of Corruption landing straight away. Krepo repels away. He's going to be able to get to his minions. There is a wave there, and now Yellow Pete turns aggressive on towards N-Rated and forces him back, starting to get a little bit hot and heavy in the bottom lane.
Yeah, and you can see how much damage a Kog'Maw can do at level 6 with that mixed damage you do with the AD and the magic. Not to mention the range you have is just ridiculous. We have Cyanide sneaking into the top lane, trying to go for a gank here. But Wicked is sitting in that front bush, just trying to keep vision and make sure that doesn't happen.
Well, he knows that Soaz is down, and Soaz trying to bait him in a little bit here. And we already see the fact that Peke is starting to head north. They've gone, yep, don't go for that one. And that's actually going to cause a problem because they're going towards the blue buff. That's all they wanted. Instead, it's going to be Cyanide helping out that one. It's going to leash it out for him, and Peke is doing the damage.
Relatively slow game so far. We have Xpeke actually building the cages like he picks, so it looks like he will go for Twin Shadows very soon. Which is actually, honestly, a perfect item for him because he needs to slow Zac, he needs to slow Ahri, and that's going to help him out quite a bit. Also, it's going to deter ganks from him because he can slow Shen from being able to get in and taunt him, so he can commit a flash to land that. So smart pickup for him, and we'll see if he's able to make it work.
Easy for you to say. Golden's
not easy for me to say.
Fnatic do take that down, so that's going to keep that advantage. And of course, the ultimate will be available in a few moments. Peke did use it just a moment ago, but he can see he can start zipping around the map, so that's why they need to keep those wards. That ward coverage, Froggen has to keep a track of him. Remember, he has got that teleport up. If Peke was to step away, then Froggen is needed to join that battle. He could also, of course, go for the ganks himself with that. So that's ultimate, that summoner spell, I should say, not ultimate. It would be the ultimate for Peke. But as it is Wicked, he's done a very good job at closing that gap, you know, in the top lane. He's got ability power as well, so both champions in the top lane stacking out that IP.
And considering he got killed as first blood, like that's just an amazing job just to hold on to that lane long enough. 66 to 61 CS is not bad at all. As you see in the mid laners, both of them having blue buffs. I wouldn't be surprised to see Froggen go in. Like, we saw Twist Fate ulti the top lane, but he didn't follow him. It looks like Wicked knew he can handle it himself. He didn't make a play, but as I say that, he is heading towards the top, so they are spotted by a ward, though.
They are spotted by the ward, but it's going to be a 3-on-2, and that's going to leave Peke to free farm and shove that middle, and they immediately respond to this. They're pushing back down there, but this time Snoopy is snuck around the backside, so they're going to see Froggen coming back and think, where the hell is that sneaky little ninja? And he's going to come crashing straight across, flashes and gets the Shadow Dash across there. Hasn't managed to get the ultimate straight down to him, but it will be enough to take him down, and Froggen picks up the kill. Very well played there by Evil Geniuses.
That was a great flash taunt as Snoopy. Gave him no time to react at all, could not get away from the taunt, couldn't even slow him or stun him right there. Great job by Evil Geniuses to get a kill over to Froggen.
Oh, and they're going to be the stun lock on towards Yellow Pete. Is it going to be enough? But look at that. Krepo turns straight away, goes aggressive on towards N-Rated. Chain of Corruption does come out, but Yellow Pete caught out. There's going to be the tough teleport coming in from Froggen. And look at that. Stand United and teleport. And suddenly Evil Geniuses have a 4-man stack in this bottom lane versus the one member of Yellow Star. I would be running right now.
Look how much they committed to that. I mean, you mentioned the Stand United and the teleport. They're able to pick up a kill, though. They're able to pick up a turret off of this. And of course, see Froggen heading back to the mid lane. Needs to hold on to it. In the meantime, Wicked very low in the top side of the map against Soaz right now. Soaz has Ignite, so he could go for kill. We have the Twist Fate ulti coming in the bot lane.
He's going to try and come down. Can he catch the stun? It's actually Snoopy and caught, probably the lesser of the two evils. He really Yellow Pete he was after, but it doesn't matter. They'll see whether they can get a kill from it. They do manage to get another stun card down. The Cocoon is still available from Krepo. They're going to turn aggressive on towards Yellowstar. The barrier comes down. It's going to get popped. Both AD carries going down. Captain surprise. Will it be enough? They're going to pop on towards it. Snoopy goes down, but Peke dies as well. And it's Krepo that picks up the kill. And that is advantage, really, for Evil Geniuses, despite the fact it was 2-2, the assists and the kills going to Krepo.
Yeah, perfect for EG right there. We see Froggen has 2 kills now at this point, and even though Yellow Pete did die, that passive out of him was hilarious to see because Twist of Fate could not move in that Shen taunt, and he just blew up. But yeah, Evil Geniuses taking the better side of that trade, though they are still down 400 gold at this point. That Twist of Fate passive is ridiculous for keeping your gold up.
Froggen makes a move towards the top. There is no wards in the river this time around, but it's sheer just dude potential, I believe it used to be recalled as, but Soaz is being cautious, but they know he's there because he stood on top of that ward, and now Froggen is so close, and you can see Wicked, he's going to launch towards him, and in goes Froggen. He's going to come across, gets the charm down, it should be enough damage, he turns it around, and Froggen is a wrecking machine right now. 3-0, and that needs the large rod is doing work for them. Evil Genius is going to shove on towards the top lane. Remember that bottom lane, it's taken a lot of damage as well, and Peke is having to use defensive duties right now.
So smart out of Froggen right there on that gank. He waited for that charm. He did not want to rush it at all because they knew they could pick up that kill. Soaz tried to flash, but it just wasn't enough. Looks like Xpeke will be able to hold on towards that top lane, and Snoopy did the same in the middle. But EG looking very strong now. Gold is tied, but they are up 2 kills.
Wow, 5-3 then so far. Like you mentioned, Gold is tied. Very, very tight game here. That's interesting, the fact that the goal is tight, because Evogenius picked up the dragon, if you remember. That does mean that surely the farming waves... Where is the gold being stacked out here? I'm intrigued.
Twisted Fate passive is just so strong.
Yes.
That extra 2 gold you get, so just double how much CS they have. That's how much extra gold they got from that. Does counter that dragon very easily. And as we say, dragon, it is up in 9 seconds here, and Evogenius is kind of waiting for it to happen.
That was a shadow dash across. Snoopy's going to sneak around. There isn't a ward in that tribe, but she won't be seen right now.
Wicked's coming down too.
It's going to come down there. You can see Wicked is going to join the party. He's going to be launching himself in there any moment now. And Fnatic, they're on a 4-on-2 situation here. They're going to need Peke to come down and join him. Here comes Snoopy's going to show himself. Gets the shadow dash, gets the taunt. Repel comes out. You can see the chain of corruption comes out from Yellowstar. It's not going to be enough. Peke now, he wants to cancel that straight away. Comes in there. That was a mistake from Peke. As soon as he saw it, does manage to get the twin shadows out and force Evogenius is back. But here comes Froggen around the side. He's going to catch Peke down. Absolutely caught away the stun by N-Rated. Is it going to be enough to back away from this one? The exhaust has run out. And the rest of Evogenius as the cocoon comes in there. The shadow dash, the stand united. N-Rated's now in trouble. Evogenius are absolutely wrecking Fnatic right now. The gold is still so tight, but the kill count says it all. It's 8-3 to Evogenius.
And Snoopy and Froggen are playing like gods this game. Just their presence around the map has been so spot on. Soaz was able to pick up a turret off of that, but Evogenius has got the bottom turret and they're going to get a dragon. Soaz going to keep pushing that top lane, but looks like Wicked will be able to back and stop him from getting any damage onto that second turret. Evogenius, we talked about him having that mental block on the red side, but it looks like they might have worked past that.
They may well have worked it, and it seems to be working in the form of Froggen. He's getting the kills, he's getting the damage, and that gold is just going to be stacking hugely in his favor right now in that mid lane. 5-0 his kill count is. Needs the large rod, or will it be Sonya's hourglass? Whatever he goes for, it's going to be a big item.
Yes, it will. I mean, so it's still sticking up onto the top side. We have a lot of wards actually picked up for Fnatic because they realize we're going to start losing control of our own jungle here. We need to protect it. The top turret and mid turret are pretty low at this point. Spike is able to pick up his blue though. That's going to be a good thing for him. He's obviously going to need that reduced cooldown on that ultimate to really make some presence around, but he's been shut down every time. Like, every ulti he's done has not worked out well for him.
It's not working out too well for him. In that bottom lane, you know, Crepo and Yellow Pete has been doing work down there, honestly. They created the moments, the kills that have happened down the bottom. Yellowstar and N-Rated, every time they've gone in, there's been a counter. This is almost, you know, like when you face the Koreans, there's everything you do, there's a counter towards them. And Evogenius may well have unlocked the secret here.
Yes, they have, in the form of a Shen jungle, as we're seeing. Because this worked out so well, because we get to look back, he got shut down level 1. He was forced to flash and forced to use that taunt, or skill up that taunt, but he's been able to catch back up, all due to the fact that Wicked died early on. He was able to get those levels. The ultimates he's been using has created so many opportunities for Evogenius. Looks like they might be able to get a top turret as Expected comes around. We do have a potential mid-push happening here out of Fnatic, though.
Well, speaking of that Shen jungle, look at him. He's got the Aegis Legion already. He's 0-1-6. 6 assists he's picked up. And that is helping him hugely, despite the fact he hasn't got the CS. He hasn't been keeping up with Cyanide. Cyanide's been farming in and out, but it's going to be the red buff being taken away, the Wraith, sorry, being taken away here. And the red buff was warded up as well. And now you can see Evogenius is stacking in this mid lane. They're going to get a bit of poke on towards N-Rated. The cocoon comes out, forces the flash away. And Evogenius are just putting pressure all across the map right now.
Yeah, they are really controlling this game at this point. You even saw Fnatic switch up their AD carry support into the middle lane, sending Soaz bottom just to kind of hold out a little bit, maybe shut Froggen down, but he has a Zonias now. He's 5-0, only 17 minutes in. We have Froggen coming towards the top side of that twin shot, trying to slow him, but it's not enough.
Uses the ultimate to come across and does get stun carded out there, but Peke already half his hit points shredded off there. They are going to have to back away from this turret. The rest of Fnatic starting to come towards the top and try and fend them off, but they have to deal with the fact that Crepo, and actually tell a lie, it's Snoopy and Yellow Pete were shoving that mid lane, and you can see Yellowstar had to come in there. 4 members of Fnatic, though, they were drawn towards the top of the turret there.
And look what Evogenius is doing. This is a situation they like to be in. They like to be the team that forces the other team to react. Like Fnatic, they've just been reacting to every move that Evogenius has been doing, and this is where Evogenius really starts to prosper from. If they keep this up, they could take this game, because the gold lead is pretty big at this point, considering last game how, you know, 40 minutes in was only 2,000 difference.
Well, let's not count Fnatic out just yet. 2,000 gold is all it is. Actually, tell a lie, that's just 1,500 gold. So that's still not a big difference overall. But if they can shut down Froggen, that could be a serious problem for Evogenius, because he's picking up all of their kills right now. However, Kog'Maw versus Varus is actually a pretty even battle if they were to reach late game.
I would disagree with that, to be honest. I have to respectfully disagree, just because the range. Like, in terms of pure damage, if they were to go head-to-head without the range difference, yes, it'd be very close. But because Yellow Pete can sit back, pop that W, and attack the tanks, and do magic and attack damage to them, it makes him so much more strong.
We'll see how it does progress, because as it stands, Yellow Pete has played a magnificent game in the last one, so I wouldn't doubt his Cogmore. It's a champion that he's used many, many, many times throughout Season 2, and it definitely works well. However, Yellowstar, he's no slouch either. He's working towards that. I believe he's going to go Last Whisper now rather than Infinity Edge. I think he's going to be able to quite get towards that Infinity Edge that quick.
I think actually both AD carries are going to go for an eye edge after this play of the Rune King. And also keep in mind, even though Yellowstar scores 1-2-1 and he has a little bit CS more than Yellow Pete, the goal difference between the two is less than 100 at this point. Like that's just how strong the Twisted Fate passive is. It's keeping him in the game. And we'll see who can get the IE first, because that's going to show you who's going to want the team fights.
Well, Evil Genius stacking in that mid lane. They're going to keep putting the pressure down on towards it. You can see Peke and Froggen sneaking around here. Froggen desperately wants to get close to Peke. Peke taunting there, actually, using the taunt key. Froggen's going to wipe out that wave, but it's the mid lane where the focus is. You can see 3 members of Evil Geniuses keep on pushing there. Yellow Pete desperately trying to get in. We do see Soaz reacting to it. He's going to get spotted out. There's the equalizer coming down, and the flash forced out from Crepo there. Cocoon didn't quite land, but it's an ultimate for a flash.
And what Evil Genius is doing right now, they're forcing Fnatic to react in terms of, you're going to lose one turret, you decide which one's going to be. And they decide that they're going to lose their top instead of their middle. They wanted to keep that one alive, so I was just going to go up there and get some farm. But we see Froggen going down the bottom lane yet again.
He's going to dive in. He manages to get an ultimate, but the stun card comes down the hair because the Stand United coming out from Froggen. He's going to try and follow through on towards Peke. Can't quite catch up with him. Peke already made a mad run for it, but that does mean the bottom turret may be exposed, or is it going to mid turret? This is like you said a moment ago, they're forcing them to choose which one they're going to lose.
Yeah, that is indeed. And we see that the boots, we see Merchants on Expect, and he even put back grading as well. So the extra movement speed mixed in with the Twin Shadows just makes him so fast that Froggen can't keep up. And you saw right there how much benefit it gives him, and it kept him alive.
20-minute Runic Bulwark coming out as well from Snoopy. He is going to be a very tanky Shen, and that's going to help assist the entire team. So those assists that he's been getting have been working wonders. But we do see Peke going in towards Yellow Pete. Hasn't got the flash available, but it doesn't matter because the flip comes out from Cyanide, and it is going to be Yellow Pete taken down. There's going to be the Chain of Corruption landing across. The Evil Genius just getting melted on their own turret, but the turret is doing work, and now Crepo goes repelling in there. Froggen did manage to pick up the kill on towards Cyanide, but it's still a 2-for-1.
And if Yellow Pete, if Froggen had ultimate right there, I think they could have actually taken more targets than they did right there. But it was a 1-for-2 trade in the end, so Fnatic did get the benefit of that. And Expeke was able to pick up something here. I mean, the whole point is that his ultimates have been effective, but that one worked out quite well.
That one worked out very well. A 2-for-1, they'll accept that one, and now it's going to be the Dragon possibly starting out by Evil Genius as the rest of the team. They can't react to this one. In Yellowstar, tanking out and stealing away that mid turret. Very well played from him.
And Evil Geniuses weren't even able to make a play off of that because Stupe was dead. They weren't able to go for that Dragon and kind of cancel out 1-to-1. So if Fnatic can pick up that Dragon, they will get ahead in gold, and they'll look very strong as this game goes on.
Well, we have double split lanes coming out. Froggen split lane in bottom, and Peke pushing on the top. Both turrets are, of course, down, so it's the inner turrets they're going in towards, but they are trying to cause as much chaos as they can across the map. And so far, I wouldn't call it really either way between these two teams. Still 600 gold. The Dragon will be going to Evil Geniuses this time around. There's nothing Fnatic can do about it, so that's going to be the second one secured for them.
And I want to point out something. It's kind of off on a different tangent, but we had Messiah talk about his Twisted Fate. Actually, in the meantime, I'll get back to that second. We see Henrietta getting caught here by Wicked. They might be able to pick up a kill.
Froggen's going to come in, uses that ultimate. The charm doesn't land, but he's going to continue the damage around the side there. Soaz does get the harpoons down on towards Froggen. It slows him down enough, and it does look like Evil Genius is going to steal away that red buff.
Okay, so actually, I'm gonna keep it for later. So as chooses the equalizer.
Oh, the equalizer comes in, and it's gonna be Crepo that's caught out this time around. He's gonna get dropped, and Fnatic are looking very good in this fight. He's gonna repel away. Can they catch on towards him? Soaz is gonna come around the harpoon. He's gonna be available. Yellow Pete's taken very low, as is Froggen. It's a double kill for Soaz. Cathy and Surprise is gonna go across there. We also see another kill. It's gonna be Yellowstar taking down Crepo, and that is a fantastic turnaround for Fnatic. It was all looking so chaotic and good for Evil Geniuses, but Fnatic responding kind with a 3-for-0.
A 3-for-0, and they got the killing spree off of Froggen right there over to Soaz. So that's ridiculous. They're going to be able to pick up this turret as well. They have a lot of money to spend at this point, and that just got them back in the game so well. And the bottom turret also being pressured. Peke is going to get in towards that. That's going to turn their gold massively in their favor. This turret and the next one will swing it to a 3,000 gold advantage quickly towards Fnatic, and that is how quick they just snowballed the game. How is that going to be a problem for Evil Geniuses now? Because Peke in there picked up a lot of damage. The fact that he's got that Lich Bane now completed, he is going to be a pain in the proverbial when he starts split pushing. It's going to be a huge advantage for Fnatic now, because we talked about earlier, like which AD carries going to get the Infinity Edge first, because that'll show who's going to start winning these fights, and it's going to be Yellowstar. He's going to have that done really soon at this point, and it's going to make him so strong. And I was trying to point out earlier with the point about Messiah, he talked about Twisted Fate. If your first 2 ultimates don't work, like if you don't start to snowball off of that, you're really not going to be able to split push that well. But because of these fights, because of Expected being able to get these assists in, he's been able to get the Lich Bane done. He's been able to get the items he needs to really be a scary force to, for Evil Geniuses to deal with.
You got there in the end without Svenskeren interrupting you.
I was about to ask, where's Svenskeren?
Unfortunately, he didn't make it. Evil Geniuses did, and it is a very, very tight 9-8 in kills, and you can see the goal difference is 2,000 right now to Fnatic, 4-2 in turrets. And that Twisted Fate passive is working wonders for Fnatic. And, you know, Evil Geniuses, they knew they were going to allow it through. They knew they were going to be against Twisted Fate, and they've tried to counter it with that Stand United, with that Teleport on Frog, and it was working so well at the start, but it's such a good counter from Fnatic in those last few fights. Really, it's all about the ward placement. They knew they were in the right position at the right time to start that fight, and it worked wonders.
Yeah, I mean, Evil Geniuses, they did a perfect job of stopping that Twisted Fate, but one little slip-up, like one mistake can cost you the game, because now Fnatic took that mistake, they started to snowball it, and they were able to get the items over to the players they need. We see Soaz, you know, he's built 2 items that aren't completed just yet. He does have his Abyss, so Froggen's not going to be doing too much damage to him, as well as Wicked now. But you look over at Froggen after the entirety of those fights, he still has a Death Cap and a Zhonya's. His ability power is ridiculous. Problem is, if they can lock him down just like you said before, if they can kill him, where's the rest of the damage that Evil Geniuses is going to come from?
Well, Soaz, that Equalizer was the one that started the fight off in the last time around. Can he do it again? That wood in the banana bush will spot them out. Crepo will see that with his Oracle there. Has to stick around. Look at that. N-Rated was ready and waiting. He's just going to put that ward straight back in there. I expect he will. Yep, there's the ward, pops on the map straight away the moment he backs away from that one. Froggen's shown his position in that top lane, which means all of Fnatic respond and start pushing out mid lane.
It's kind of standard, though. It's like, let Froggen split push, let him get the farm he needs, because he can carry us to victory, which he has the items to do right now. We need to see Yellow Pete. He needs his Infinity Edge. He needs to get that item, because the rest of Geniuses can protect him at that point. And when that happens, like, he will be putting out so much damage that really Soaz, who hasn't built too much armor just yet, or Sino hasn't built too much armor, he can just destroy them quickly.
Who's the quickest split pusher right now, Froggen or Peke?
Peke.
Peke, you think, with that Lich Bane?
Yeah. I mean, considering he can full clear wave with just his Q red card combo and then hit the turret with the Lich Bane, he's going to make it so he can push a lot quicker. Not to mention his ultimate can get him around the map. But we do have Froggen with his teleport, but obviously he can only get to, you know, wards or minions.
Well, they gave up the middle turret in order to try and get the kill on Froggen there, and it didn't work. And Evil Geniuses walk away with a free mid turret now. And that is going to keep them 4-3 in turrets, very close between them. But that bottom wave, you can see it's been split pushed down there. Wicked was going across to try and deal with it, but Fnatic have gathered, and they're going up the mid lane.
Yeah, we're expecting, he's trying to keep the pressure on that bottom lane, trying to force Evil Geniuses to react to him consistently, but he hasn't been able to do too much damage to the turret just yet. And we are almost even on turrets, 4-3, almost even on kills, 8-9, and the gold lead's still very close at this point. It's really anyone's game at this point. We're only 27 minutes in.
Well, everything is up for grabs. Remember, this is for a place in the grand finals. They'll be facing either Gambit or SK Gaming, who will be playing after this match concludes. And this is the final game. Infinity Edge now is completed by Yellow Star. He's going to be doing a heck of a lot of damage when the next fight comes around. You can see Yellow Pete also desperately trying to get that item built out as well. Soaz and Wicked going head-to-head once again in the top lane. And it's Froggen pushing that bottom lane. This time he's got Snoopy ready and waiting in the wings to help him out.
Yes, he does. And Yellow Pete, he does have the Eye Edge done just now. We even have Yellow Star. He's going for a Guardian Angel with that no magic mantle, so he's going to be very hard to deal with as the game goes on. And Fnatic, I mean, you talked about before, the vision. Look how many wards are on the map. It's like a Christmas tree with just how much sight there is for everyone. And Fnatic, they're staying grouped up. Like, they don't want to get caught off guard. They don't want to lose fights in these in the jungle. And no one currently has an Oracle on either team. Actually, sorry, Crepo does have one, but it's run out very soon. So they don't really have the ability to take away the vision and deny it.
Well, it's actually, you know, the fact that the game pace has definitely slowed down here. After Evil Geniuses, they had such a big advantage. They were 8-3 up in kills, and now it's 9-8. They've gone, oh, okay, let's
put the brakes on.
Let's put the brakes on this. Let's see if we can get this dragon away. But it looks like Fnatic are ready to fight for this one. They're going to be doing a bit of a pincer move, though, which is less than ideal. And Froggen and Peke, they're going to fight each other. Froggen's using his ultimate, poking in there, and it does look like he's going to maybe not get caught out there.
Oh, they're going to go for the dragon here. It does get taken.
And the dragon does get taken by Evil Geniuses. The equalizer came out there from Soaz. Can they turn the engagement? Chain of Corruption misses. They do not whiff that one, and they're going to lock up Soaz. Is it going to be enough damage? But in goes Peke on towards Snoopy. You can see the Zhonya's Hourglass focusing wonders there. And now we're going to see the Evil Geniuses dropping left, right, and center. That's going to be 4-0 picked up by Fnatic. The dragon went to Evil Geniuses, but was it worth a complete slaughter in the pit?
No, it was not indeed. And now Fnatic looks like they're even heading up towards Baron right now. They're not very healthy at this point, and I'm curious to see if they can actually take it. We do have Expeke still split pushing, but they're going to need his damage, I have to say, to really take this down.
Yeah, they're going to try and 3-man it when Wicked's going to come around. This is a dangerous move there. Yeah, and they've realized they're like, whoa, we can't tank that out, especially with Wicked close by. He's got that fortitude bot. He may be able to pick up an exit kill here.
Is he going to go for it? We're not going to find out.
Nope. We thought about it and then didn't, but it doesn't matter because Peke picks up another turret, and that's the inner bottom lane turret going down. 5-3 in turrets right now, and that gold lead is stretching more and more every time these teams fight now.
I kind of like that play a little bit if you think about it. So Fnatic, they were pretty sure there was no vision. Like, they weren't 100% sure there was no vision because that pink ward's not spawning anything inside the Baron pit. But they went to Baron knowing they probably couldn't do it, but that made it so Wicked had to react to the Baron and not react to the split push that Expeke was doing. So it gives them a free turret in the end. No one else is going to take Baron, so they weren't under the pressure of, Evil Geniuses rushing it, and in the end it worked out for them.
Let's see how it does work out for them. It's so important that Froggen gets involved in that next fight. Hexdrinker being picked up now by Yellowstar. Trying to react to everything that's being picked up. Both these teams, they know the builds inside and out. We're seeing Wicked, of course. He's gone for that Spirit Visage earlier on. He did have the Haunting guys very early. Now he's gone for a bit more health because it's not quite working out in those fights like he'd like it.
I thought Yellowstar was actually going to go for a GA, but I guess I'm just going to help him out, give him a little bit more attack damage and that shield. And Yellow P, oh, we do have Twisted Fate coming in on a Krepo.
He's going in towards Krepo. Krepo's going to repel. He's got nowhere to go to. He flashes out of it and avoids the damage. Very well played from Krepo to get out of that one. Ultimate burn of Fnatic. Now they're going to 5-man towards that top lane turret.
We've seen so many fantastic repels out of Krepo and Soaz when Soaz played him in last game, and they're just showing the power of Elise, support, or AP top lane. But Fnatic, 5-man closing in on this top turret. Froggen is nowhere to be seen, but he does have teleport to get in there if they need to. But I think it might be too late if he does go in.
Well, we'll see whether he can react to it. There's no wards really behind, so we can't see any crazy play. And it does look like Fnatic are going to keep on chunking down that turret. They can't hold this one off. Turret's going to go down. He's going to be pushing on the inner turret down the bottom, but Fnatic are keeping on shoving this one.
Yeah, that bomb turret not low at all. It's about 3/4 health right now. Froggen's backing away to come help out because he doesn't want to lose this inhibitor turret. That's too much to lose out on.
Oh, the repel this time. Chain of Corruption lands. Krepo gets dropped. Cyanide walks in. And now Snoopy's taken low. Is there enough? Not quite enough to take him down, but it doesn't matter because it's a 4-on-3 already. 4-on-3, a 5-on-4. I can't even count, but it doesn't matter. Actually, there is only 3 members there because everybody else is having to back off to try and heal themselves up. Fnatic are sieging this one down. They've taken half the hit points off this inhibitor turret already, and they continue to keep on pressuring. Krepo goes deep. Froggen tries to get in there. Soaz uses Zhonya's Hourglass. Can they catch him out there? Zhonya's Hourglass comes out from Froggen this time. Stand United. Dash comes out from Snoopy. They do manage to get 1, 2, 3. It's a multi-kill right now, and it's going to be Froggen that picks them all up.
That's a great job. Wicked even got his passive popped right there in the end, was able to stay alive long enough. And Evil Geniuses, even though they did lose a turret, pick up those 3 kills. They might actually be able to rush Baron here, and that is not good for Fnatic.
That is where Evil Geniuses are running straight towards. And, well, you can see Peke, he's realized it. He doesn't want to back away. He's going to try and linger around and see if he can steal something away here. He's going to see those golems, and now he knows what is up. The question is, can he get around? Can he throw that wild card out? That's all he's going to be able to try and steal it with. No, he's choosing to back away from this one. He does use that passive ultimate, but it's not so passive. It's more of a brace of blessing R, but it's going to give them vision, but there's not a great deal they can do with it. Oh, the equalizer came in at the last-ditch effort, and it's actually Yellow Pete and not the Smite that picked it up.
And we did have Expeke. He went for his own blue buff right there because he knew he could. I mean, he might have potentially been able to steal it. He could have actually sat behind Baron Pit and hit it with a Q or 2, but he didn't want to get caught. He didn't want to die. And as he was trying to take the wolves, he was able to get his blue, but still, EUG, with that Baron buff, with them pretty much all full health, full mana, they're going to be pushing for this turret. They're
pushing straight towards the inner turret. Fnatic have all respawned. There's 5-on-5 in towards this mid lane. 13-12 in kills. Still very, very tight between both these teams. Hail of Arrows comes out to try and keep that wave cleared. Can they catch the damage? Yes, they can. Yellow Pete taking a lot of chunks there. He hasn't got any mana either, really, but he's going to get that regen coming from that Baron buff. Is it going to be enough? That is the question. They can't really seize this one down.
That mana, I mean, it's going to be a huge factor for Yellow Pete, but the point is, all he needs is this W. They're going to be attacking this turret. They have the range they need to easily to go for this. Froggen trying to do some damage. So you see the Chain of Corruption coming out.
Chain of Corruption lands on Wicked, and he's going to get dropped. It's going to be Krepo that finishes that one off. Sorry, N-rated that finishes that one off. I'm so used to seeing Leona on there. And now the Evil Geniuses, they have to dash away from this one. Oh, the stun not quite catching on towards Snoopy. He is running for his life, but he's going to get stunned up. Snoopy goes down. It's a 2-for-0. And now Fnatic are chasing down the Baron up Evil Geniuses straight at the mid lane. There's going to be the Twin Shadows. There's going to be the Equalizer. The stun card. Froggen's going to get dropped. They flip Yellow Pete in there. Zhonya's Hourglass comes out, but it's not going to be enough. It's going to be Fnatic wiping them out, pecking the triple kill up for Soaz. and surely that could be the game for Fnatic.
They are going to push this top side right now. The tower is very low at this point. They're going to get the inhibitor. They have about 20 seconds left on a Wicked and Snoopy. I don't know if they can actually finish this up right now because they're relatively low, but still, that was a great play just to score an ace, an inhibitor off of baroned up Evil Geniuses.
They're going to go straight in. They could take down the Nexus turrets. They're going to push in for it. There's at least 10 seconds still on Wicked, but he is going to be the only man alongside him. It's going to be Snoopy. There's not a great deal of damage there. They're going to take down both Nexus turrets, and they're pushing on towards the Nexus for a place in the grand finals. They'll be facing either Gambit or SK Gaming. We see Wicked last ditch effort. Snoopy's going to come across there. They're trying to take it down, but it doesn't matter. The Nexus tower falls, and it is going to be Fnatic that pick up the win over Evil Geniuses. What a game to finish on. What a well played by that man in the black and orange shirt. Pretty much everyone.
Which one?
Which one? Everyone. But they all played brilliant.
But what a way to close out the series. I mean, taking out a baroned up Evil Geniuses, then taking the game from that is just ridiculous. They fought on their own side of the map for a good portion of that fight. Wow, Fnatic, just phenomenal.
What a great game. Evil Geniuses looked like they had command, but Fnatic snatched it away. 8-1-8 for SOAS towards the end there. Fantastic equalizers and that triple kill at the end, boosting his stats very nicely. We're going to get over to the analysis desk. It's going to be Joe Miller and Trevor Quickshot Henry to take you through that epic game.
What an amazing end to that best-of-3 quick shot. There's a lot to talk about in this final game here, but for Evil Geniuses, the start was there from. We saw Froggen going up to 5-0-0, getting an early Zhonya's Hourglass. They seem to be doing everything right.
We couldn't breathe. The amount of action that was happening in that game, I jumped out of my seat at least twice. And talking about Froggen's plays, when they went on that bottom lane and he, just ran in there, picks up kills, tower dives, it was just kill after kill after kill. And you started thinking, well, that's it, Fnatic are out of this. The one thing that helped them, that saved them throughout the entirety of that early game, was the fact that Twisted Fate's passive was keeping them in it as far as gold is concerned.
Yeah, they were only one step behind. When you look, I mean, it was the case in the second game as well, that they were only a very short amount of gold behind. The kind of gold lead that one fight can really change the swing of the game. And we have that one fight pretty much for you that happened in the jungle on Fnatic's bottom side of the map.
This is literally the team fight that changed the tempo of the game. It was from this fight that Fnatic clawed back control and said, no, we're not going to be bullied around by Evil Geniuses anymore. So let's jump into the replay. It is at 22 minutes on the clock. What has happened a moment ago, Froggen has used his ultimate to try and pick up N-rated from the side. Members of Fnatic are trying to, regroup and put themselves in a position where they can pick a fight. And you'll actually see Froggen using his ultimate here just to, the final couple of charges. And this is literally what turns the fight around. A perfectly stacked Equalizer and Solar Flare. Look at all of the damage that Fnatic are putting down without being within any damaging range. You see on the bottom lane that they are going to chase down Crepo, while SOAS and Cyanide are just going to chase and pick up a double kill. They carry on running through the map here and just pick up more and more, objectives and map control. And that was the first fight that gave them, I would dare say, the confidence to pick more fights.
Yeah, that was the point where they realized, okay, we can get into this one. And obviously everything combined for them. That Equalizer from SOAS, I hate the name for Equalizer because it's anything but an equalizer in most fights that we see. It really tipped the balance of that one. Then we saw N-rated. We know how good he is with Leona. He landed everything perfectly to really keep on top of that one. We did see a kill at the end. We just want to notice because it confuses and we had to look back at it. That was the kill for Yellow Star, who was in the middle of the map, but Elise was at the bottom. Elise actually ran into the tower there before Twisted Fate got that way. So that's why he got the kill, even though he was in the middle of the map. And that was really the, what started things going in for Fnatic. They started to push. They pushed a little bit more. They took the inner turret in the top lane, then they went onto that inhibitor turret in the top lane. All of a sudden, EG said, right, that's it then. We're going to go back in for this one. They managed to get 3 kills. Wait a minute. 3 kills. Yeah, 3 kills from that one. It was so much action in this one. I actually used 2 pages of notes for it. Then they backed off and they went straight to Baron. They took the Baron as well. It was close to being stolen away by the Equalizer, so I was coming in just a slight bit too early with that one. But then, as EG pushed down the middle, we see what happens.
And the reason that this mistake happened is the fact that the tempo from the game was just ramping up, and the players just got more and more and more into it. So they barreled down the mid lane, tried to jump onto that mid inner turret, and Fnatic just said, nope, you shall not pass, re-engaged on them, picked up enough kills, and were able to close it out. So a great performance from both teams, and it was just the smallest of engagements and the smallest of things that, swung complete control from EG to Fnatic, Fnatic to EG, and finally, that final nail in the coffin was, of course, Fnatic's to nail home.
Well, it's not all sad news for Evil Geniuses. Of course, they are going to be playing in the 3rd, 4th playoff tomorrow, fighting for that 3rd position. And they've already yesterday, with that victory over the Copenhagen Wolves in the quarterfinal, guaranteed their jobs for the next half, the summer split of the LCS. It's time, though, to crown an MVP for this one. Talk us through it here, Quick Shot.
This was a difficult one for a number of reasons, because both games were fantastic from all sorts of different sides. We're going to start with EG and give a special mention to Froggen, because he is really the determining factor in the second game. He was really what helped in that third game as well.
Yeah.
But overall, we're going to give the MVP to Soaz from Fnatic. His Zac in game 1 was the reason they won all of those team fights. Cyanide's Jarvan backed him up on all those engages and helped him. In game 2, when he was playing Elise, he was in complete control of that entire matchup, and you and I were gawking at the numbers that the neurotoxin was dealing.
Yeah, 25% damage every single time he went in there. Like, he was probably the sole reason that they managed to stay in there. You saw the amount of Randuin's Omens that were actually over on the other side. And it wasn't the auto attacks from the AD to the 2 AD carries, of course, that kept doing that on. The fact was Soaz was causing the problems there. And then coming into game number 3, as we said, Equalizer's the wrong name for that ultimate that he used here today, because it swung completely how those fights went.
It was the Dominationizer.
It was indeed something like that.
But it was a fantastic game, and it was literally those equalizers that turned the tide of the battle. From that fight at 22 minutes to the game being completed at 34 minutes, it was just equalizer after equalizer that controlled areas of the map and ensured that the game was won for Fnatic.
So we're going to go over to the main stage. We've got another special for you this time with both players, or a player from each team, I should say. Over with Shox, it's going to be Soaz and Krepo.
Yes, I'm here with Soaz and Krepo. Starting off, Soaz, the story of that first game was really all about the Zac attack. Very good play from you. What do you think is really strong about him? How does he work in your team comp?
Zac is really strong hero. He's really tanky, and you just deal damage by tankiness. So you have really strong engage, and AoE, you have everything that needs a tank. So he's good hero.
Then, of course, the second game, Krepo, was, for EG, very long-winded. So how did you experience that from your point of view?
Well, basically, we wanted to make them tired. That worked out. Now, we wanted to get the Zac ourselves and see if we could do as well as Soaz did with them, but he had a good counter in Elise on lane. But then that's why the third game we actually got Elise support to get rid of the lane counter. And I think that worked out well for us. But yeah, the second game was really long out because we had a small lead. They couldn't really split push us that well, so we could just maintain the lead, and then it became a ward war. Once they ran out of ward, we had Nashor, they took inhib, did the same thing again, second inhib, third inhib, over, and eventually they couldn't defend it anymore, and we had the game.
Absolutely, and then in the third game, it was all about the split pushing Twisted Fate once again. In the beginning, it got shut down by Ahri, but then it just worked out perfectly again for you guys.
Yeah, the problem was PK couldn't one-on-one Ahri, and as soon as he could one-on-one Ahri, we were fine, and we could engage middle before he came with teleport, and basically we just throw on top, but after that they are too overconfident on middle, and they just throw again middle, and we ended the game after that.
All right. Krepo, you lost this game here, but nevertheless a great performance here. What does that do to you if you think of where EG was a couple of weeks ago?
If you look at where we were like half a year ago, it's still not good. Like, we were 4th place, and now we lost, and we kind of threw the last game. But to be fair, they made some throws as well, so it pretty much was a game of throws. Other than that, at least we proved that we could still end 4th. We beat Wolves. We had I guess, a decent best of 3 against Fnatic. We took 1 game of them anyways, and the last game was close. So it's not good, but not bad either. So, well, and congratulations to Fnatic.
Very nice. So as you'll be up against SK or Gambit tomorrow in the final of the playoffs, who do you think you will be up against, and how do you think that will go?
I have no idea. Both can win, but what team I would prefer to play against, I would say SK than Gambit. And Yeah, that's it.
All right, and then the final question. For Fnatic, Season 2 wasn't the biggest success, so what are your working points going into the second half of the season, being on top right now?
Yeah, it wasn't the best. We didn't qualify for Season 2 final, but we just worked really hard, and now we are back. So the goal is just to be one of the best team in the world.
All right, same question for you, Mitch. You guys did make it to the World Finals, but still a good result there. How will you work towards that again?
Well, not make the mistakes we did now. Our early season pretty much couldn't go worse, so at least we can build up from that. It's good that we're coming back. Like, we had our down phase, and the last time Fnatic had a down phase, they won everything afterwards, so I hope it's our turn, but let's just hope for that one.
All right, good thinking there. Thank you very much, Mitch and Soaz. All right, now SK closed off the spring season in 3rd place, and they automatically qualified for the semifinal here today because of AAA's unfortunate disqualification. But Ocelot and his team are set on showing us they are a force to be reckoned with their eyes locked on the title of Spring Champion. But to get to the final, they will have to beat the #2 ranked team in the LCS, the Russian overlords, Gambit. Ocelot versus Alex Ish in our second best of 3 of the day after the break.